Good afternoon, everybody. Today's lunchtime stretch is going to focus on squat depth and all the mobility that you need to go along with it. Now, squatting is an exercise that we do a lot in the gym or doing your home workouts. It's a really important thing. It's a really important thing to do and be able to do for the rest of your life as well. So it's very important that we keep squatting. To improve our squat, we need to make sure the range of motion that we have at our joints is acceptable for that movement. So what we're going to look at today is a little test. And then we're going to do a series of 8 exercises to work on those things, and then we're going to retest at the end. And hopefully you'll see a little bit of an improvement, or you might target the areas that you know you need to work on a little bit to get that improvement. So let's start with a squat hold to begin with. So shoulder width stance, toes pointing out a little bit. It's really important that we practice a good squat movement. And with that, we want to keep our chest up, we want to sit back, and we want to push our knees out to the side. So as we do that, you're going to come down, and you're going to see where you can get to. Now, I've got quite a good range of motion on these. This is after quite a few years of practice. But if you get to here, and you can still keep that chest up and knees out, here, or maybe even just here to start with, okay? Just find where you get to and have a think about what's restricting you. So for me, here, my ankles feel okay, my hips are okay, I can get my knees out to the side. What I find is I start to drop my chest. So my issues tend to be my shoulders and my upper back. Okay, some of you might be finding it's your ankles, your heels might be wanting to come up, you might be finding that your knees are caving in, so just sort of remember to yourself where you're feeling that. Now we're going to go into our exercises. So we've got a few just to get warmed up and a few to target specific areas. So we're going to start with an open the gate, but we're going to do all the reps on one side before we move, and what we're going to try and do is keep this foot off the floor. So it's activating all the muscles in our feet. You can feel the glutes working on that stance leg. Okay, and then switch sides. Control the core, glutes. Pick your spot on the floor to focus on. Okay, so hips should be starting to warm up a little bit now. We're now going to go into a calf stretch. So just a few walks to begin with, just to warm everything up. Calves, ankles being tight can be something that really inhibits your squat mechanics. Then push your heel down and just hook the other foot around the back of your leg, and you're going to feel that stretch in this calf here. And then switch over. Okay, next we're going to tackle the hips, particularly groin flexibility. So when you squat, you need to be able to push your knees out to the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the foot up, drop the knee down to stretch, and then we're just going to push that knee out a couple of times, and then we're going to switch over. So this is groiners with abduction. That's abduction. So abduction is out to the side, adduction is into the middle. Keep switching, so a couple of pulses on each side. And last one on the right. Okay, so now we're going to work on the upper body. A lot of times people think of squats as just a lower body exercise, but it actually requires quite a bit of flexibility in the upper body to get into the right positions. So, hands and knees, hand behind your head, sweeping round. And switch sides. Okay, and while we're in this position, we're going to work on our hips again. So we're going to go hip circles now, but not small ones. You're going to try and go as big as you can. 5 really big ones on each side. Okay, so you should start getting quite warm now, particularly through the hips. So, sit yourself down. We're going to do a couple of stretches now. So we're going to stretch out the groins, so pull the feet in, sit nice and tall, and just let the weight of your legs push down, okay? Take some nice deep breaths. Just take a minute, relax into a stretch. Just let everything loosen off, stretching out these muscles here. So these are our adductors, adductors. Okay, so we're going to do 2 more exercises and then we're going to go back into our squat hold to finish this little session and see if we can notice any improvement in our squat mechanics. So let's go into our hip flexor stretch now. So lunge position, make sure the pelvis is tilting back, engage the core, squeeze that glute and just push forward into the stretch. Just hold that there. The further you push in, the more you're going to feel that stretch. And switch sides. Engage that core, remember trying to tilt that pelvis back a little bit. There's no good being all the way forward like this if you've got a really big arch in your back. Okay, and we're going to put all those things together now into a Cossack squat. So Cossack squat's one of my favourites because they look at both ankle and hip flexibility. So we're going to come over. You can even add a reach overhead if you want to start working on that upper body. So you can see I'm a lot more restricted in my upper body. That's where I need to practice. But everybody's different. Some people might find these are more challenging on their hips. Some people might find it's their ankles that are kind of being the restrictive point. Okay, and now shake everything off. Just give yourself a few seconds just to loosen everything off. I'm going to retest. So, this is where you kind of drop down into a perfect squat position. Ta-da! It might not quite be like that, but just see how you feel. Can you sit nice and deep? Can you get the knees out to the side? Can you get your chest up? Just have a little feel. What is the restriction? Have you improved anything? Hopefully you have. If not, hopefully you've identified which of those exercises was the most difficult, and they're the areas that you do need to do a bit more practice on. So regular practice, even every day, especially with us all being sat down so much, is going to be very, very important to see progress in this area. So, that was your lunchtime stretch. Hope you enjoyed it.